Many centuries ago, Alexander the Great, the renowned king of Macedon, decided to visit Diogenes, a famous philosopher living in the city of Corinth. At that time, many philosophers and statesmen were eager to meet the powerful king. However, Diogenes showed no interest in him. Instead, he preferred to relax in his barrel, surrounded by his dogs, enjoying his simple life. Diogenes' apparent indifference piqued Alexander's curiosity. The king, intrigued by this unusual philosopher, sought him out in a suburb of Corinth. There, he found Diogenes lying in the sun. Alexander greeted him and asked, "Is there anything you want from me?" "Yes," replied Diogenes. "Stand a little out of my sun." Alexander was deeply impressed by Diogenes' haughtiness and aloofness, especially towards someone of his stature. He later told his followers, "If I were not Alexander, I wish I were Diogenes." Diogenes' indifference to Alexander's status and wealth allowed him to maintain his independence and authenticity. Unlike many others, he neither desired Alexander's approval nor feared his disapproval. This indifference gave Diogenes a unique kind of power. Despite Alexander being one of the most powerful figures in the world, he had no power over Diogenes. This story illustrates how indifference can be a powerful tool for maintaining one's freedom and authenticity, regardless of external circumstances. Indifference is often seen as a negative trait associated with a lack of empathy or concern. However, as Diogenes demonstrated, it can also be a means to remain true to oneself and resist external pressures. This video explores the power of indifference, unfolding 5 benefits it can offer. Chapter 2: Power of Indifference. Imagine a world where you are unfazed by the opinions of others, unshaken by life's setbacks, focused on what truly matters. This isn't about apathy or resignation. It's about wielding the power of indifference. Indifference often gets a bad rap. We associate it with a lack of caring or concern, but philosophers throughout history have argued for a different perspective. They propose a form of indifference that's not about not feeling anything, but rather about not letting external factors control our emotions and actions. This anecdote showcases the core principle. By being indifferent to certain things, we liberate ourselves. We are free to pursue our own paths, unburdened by the need for external validation or the fear of disapproval. This freedom opens doors to living a life true to ourselves. Life throws curveballs. We face setbacks, rejections, and losses. These experiences can be emotionally devastating if we allow them to define us. Here's where the power of indifference comes into play. The Stoic philosophers, known for their emphasis on reason and virtue, offered a powerful tool: indifference toward things outside our control. They argued that our emotions stem from our interpretation of events, not the events themselves. By choosing indifference to external circumstances, we take away their power to control our emotional state. Imagine being passed over for a promotion. The initial sting of disappointment is natural, but if we attach our self-worth to that outcome, the negative emotions can linger. Here's where indifference steps in. We can acknowledge the disappointment while recognizing it doesn't define our value and capabilities. We can focus on what we can control, our effort, attitude, and how we choose to move forward. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless robots. It's about acknowledging our feelings without letting them dictate our actions. By cultivating indifference to external events, we build emotional resilience. We become less susceptible to the ups and downs of life, allowing us to navigate challenges with greater composure and clarity. Chapter 3: Freedom and Authenticity. Most people tend to follow the crowd, conforming to societal norms and behaving as others do. This approach offers safety, security, and acceptance. However, those who deviate from this path risk criticism, ridicule, or even ostracism. People generally care deeply about how others perceive them, fearing rejection and longing for acceptance. Philosophers like Arthur Schopenhauer and the Stoics argue that the opinions of others are not as significant as we often believe. To pursue our dreams and live authentically, we must sometimes be indifferent to societal conventions and the judgments of others. In his essay, Self-Reliance, Ralph Waldo Emerson emphasizes the importance of being true to oneself and thinking independently. He advises against relying on others' opinions and encourages having faith in oneself. Emerson supports the idea of indifference toward others' views while maintaining confidence in one's own beliefs. However, he also warns against complete isolation from society. To live authentically, he writes, "It is easy in the world to live after the world's opinion. It is easy in solitude to live after our own. But the great man is he who in the midst of the crowd keeps with perfect sweetness the independence of solitude." The power of indifference lies in the freedom it creates. By staying true to ourselves and not relying on others' opinions, we can pursue our dreams and live authentically, even if it means deviating from societal norms. Diogenes' story is a prime example of someone disregarding societal expectations and living life on his own terms. His indifference to Alexander's status and wealth allowed him to remain independent and authentic, demonstrating the power of staying true to oneself. It can also counter the phenomena of social proof. If you're interested, we will link that down the description box or in the end screen. Freedom, resilience, and authenticity keep you safe from manipulation tactics. The Stoics teach that we should be indifferent to things outside our control and focus instead on our own actions, opinions, and choices. This mindset helps maintain tranquility, no matter the situation. Epictetus called this state of mind conformable to nature, where we achieve peace by aligning our attitudes with the reality of our limited control. For example, if you're thrown into prison, you can't change the fact that you are there. What you can control is how you spend your time and what mindset you adopt. Similarly, if a romantic partner cheats on you, it's essential to recognize that you cannot control their actions. What matters is how you choose to respond. By focusing on your well-being and distancing yourself from those who don't align with your values. Indifference, in the Stoic sense, doesn't imply apathy. Instead, it means discerning between what we can and cannot control and not allowing external factors to disturb our inner peace. By adopting this perspective, we can maintain emotional stability and resilience. We learn to view events neutrally, understanding that our reactions, not the events themselves, determine our emotional state. Chapter 4. Better performance. Have you ever choked under pressure? Felt your skills desert you at the most critical moment? We've all been there. Often, the culprit is our attachment to outcomes. The fear of failure or the desperate need to succeed creates a mental block that hinders our performance. In ancient China, there was a skilled archer. The young woman participated in an archery contest. She was skilled, but her hands shook with nervousness. The prize money could help her family survive, so she felt immense pressure to win. However, her anxiety affected her performance, and she lost the tournament. This illustrates how attachment to outcomes can hinder our performance. When the young woman practiced, she rarely missed the mark. But in the competition, her fear of failure and desperation to win clouded her abilities. She focused so much on the prize money and the potential consequences of losing that her nervousness took over, impairing her performance. Indifference offers a surprising solution. By approaching situations with a detached mindset, we free ourselves from the shackles of outcome-based anxiety. However, an archer who practices indifference focuses on the act of shooting itself, the mechanics, the breath control, the enjoyment of the process. This detachment allows them to perform at their best, letting their skills shine through naturally. The concept extends beyond physical activities. Public speaking, creative endeavors, even everyday tasks, all benefit from a dose of indifference. When we aren't fixated on the final result, we can become more present in the moment. We can focus on the task at hand, enjoying the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. This allows for greater creativity, better decision-making, and ultimately, a higher chance of achieving the desired outcome. Ironically, because we've let go of the need for it. For example, if a musician worries excessively about delivering a flawless performance, their anxiety might lead to mistakes. However, if they focus on enjoying the music and playing their best, without obsessing over perfection, they are more likely to perform well and even enjoy the experience. By being indifferent to specific outcomes, we cultivate a sense of detachment from external events. This mindset reduces the pressure to achieve and allows us to perform more naturally and effectively. We become less likely to be swayed by fear or desperation and more able to engage fully in our activities. This approach not only helps in competitive scenarios, but also in everyday tasks and goals. When we let go of the anxiety tied to specific results, we can approach our work with a calm and focused mind, ultimately leading to better performance and greater satisfaction. Chapter 5. Happiness. Imagine a life free from the relentless pursuit of more. A life where happiness isn't dependent on accumulating possessions or chasing fleeting trends. This is the power of indifference applied to desires. We often chase a never-ending list of wants. The latest gadget, the dream vacation, social status. These desires can be a constant source of dissatisfaction, leaving us feeling like we'll never have enough. But what if we cultivated indifference towards these external markers of happiness? The philosophy of Taoism offers a compelling perspective. Xu Yu, a legendary Taoist sage, famously rejected the offer of a kingdom. He saw a simple life filled with quiet pleasures as more valuable than the burden of power and possessions. This indifference allowed him to experience a deeper sense of contentment. Similarly, Epicurus, a Greek philosopher, advocated for focusing on simple, natural pleasures. He argued that true happiness comes from fulfilling basic needs and cultivating meaningful relationships, not from chasing extravagant desires. By being indifferent to the allure of material wealth, we free ourselves from the constant struggle to keep up. This doesn't mean living a life devoid of any desires. It's about prioritizing experiences and relationships over possessions. It's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external validation. By cultivating indifference towards unnecessary desires, we unlock the door to a more affordable and sustainable form of contentment. Chapter 6. Clear head. When we detach ourselves from our emotional states and biases, we can analyze situations more effectively and make decisions based on facts and logic. Emotional attachments and preconceived notions often cloud our judgment, leading us to make choices that aren't in our best interest. Biases and emotional attachments can prevent rational decision-making. For example, if a manager is emotionally attached to a particular employee, they might promote that employee over a more qualified candidate. This decision, influenced by personal bias rather than merit, can harm the organization's overall performance. Indifference helps us overcome such biases. By approaching decisions with an indifferent mindset, we are more likely to consider all available information objectively. This detachment allows us to weigh the pros and cons based on factual evidence, rather than emotional impulses. Consider a scientist conducting an experiment. If they are biased toward a specific outcome, they might interpret data in a way that supports their expectations, ignoring contrary evidence. However, if they maintain an indifferent stance, they are more likely to analyze the data impartially and reach a valid conclusion based on the actual results. Another example is financial decision-making. An investor who is emotionally attached to a particular stock might hold on to it despite clear signs of declining value. This attachment can lead to significant financial losses. Conversely, an investor who approaches the situation with indifference can make rational decisions based on market trends and data, avoiding emotional pitfalls and maximizing returns. Indifference does not mean a lack of concern or interest. Rather, it involves recognizing our emotional biases and choosing to set them aside. This mindset enables us to focus on the facts and make decisions that are in our best interest. Our judgments are often clouded by emotional states and pre-existing beliefs. We might favor a candidate for a promotion because they share our hobbies, even if another candidate has superior qualifications. Indifference offers a solution. By approaching situations with a neutral mindset, we become better equipped to analyze information objectively. We can weigh the facts and consider all available options without being swayed by emotions or biases. Imagine a judge presiding over a case. They must be indifferent to the personal characteristics of the defendant, focusing solely on the evidence presented. Similarly, in our daily lives, cultivating indifference allows us to make well-reasoned choices, free from the influence of irrelevant factors. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless robots. It's about acknowledging our biases and setting them aside when making decisions. By being indifferent to emotional impulses and preconceived notions, we pave the way for clear-headed, rational choices that serve us best in the long run. Now we are proud to announce that we are joining the Rohingya campaign. If you don't know, Rohingyas are the refugees in Bangladesh that are victims of ethnic cleansing from Myanmar. You can also join the campaign by giving us support. Use Tap Tap Send, link in the description. Just download, sign up and verify, then send your share via Bcash, a digital bank in Bangladesh. Select Bcash and put our number provided in the description box. Thank you. We have already donated $200 worth food, but it's not enough, and we are not even monetized yet to support more. Thank you for your cooperation. Now we would like you to like and subscribe our channel. Comment down your thoughts on this. We will glad to hear from you and pin down the best and most inspiring one. Now, after commenting, click on the right of your screen to watch the next video. Peace.